Well, Ramzy Baroud is a senior research fellow at the Centre for Islam and Global Affairs at Istanbul Zaim University. He joins me live now from Seattle in Washington. Appreciate you joining me now. OK, there's a few things to dig into here. Let's start with the proposed Israeli plan there that we heard from Benjamin Netanyahu of taking control of the Philadelphi Corridor. To what extent, how much of an insult is that to Egypt?
Well, it's a great insult. I mean, after all, the Philadelphi Corridor was established based on an agreement that was signed between both parties in 1979, the Camp David Agreement, and it was facilitated and protected throughout these years by the United States. So this is going to complicate the relationship not only between Cairo and Tel Aviv, but also between Washington and these two parties. Netanyahu is speaking about it not as in there is a need to amend the agreement. He's speaking about it as in we are going to do this and we have to regain control over it. In other words, it will be a direct violation of the peace treaty between both countries. And it's going to put Egypt in a very difficult position if it's not a total embarrassment before the Egyptian people, but also the Arab and Muslim world as well.
So, and we've just showed a map of the region to our viewers. So, of course, controlling that corridor would cut off the Rafah crossing, which is the only crossing that's open into the Gaza Strip at the moment. Is that part of the day after plan that Israel has, a plan that also includes, of course, excluding Hamas?
Well, honestly, it's kind of quite difficult to answer this question because it doesn't even seem that Netanyahu himself is aware of what the day after is going to look like. All that we know is that Israel, from the very start, have treated the Palestinian people, and I mean all 2.3 million Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip, they have treated them as the enemy. Everything that you have been reporting on in today's segment, the starvation, the famine, the killings, the displacement, this is targeting the Palestinian people, not the resistance. So this has the need for Israel to amend or to violate the Camp David Agreement and regarding the Philadelphia Corridor really does aim at creating another situation where Palestinians as populations are being besieged with the hope perhaps that he would create the proper environment to push them out. For example, Avigdor Lieberman, the former defense minister of Israel, has made it clear actually just a few hours ago when he said that we will not stand in the way of 1.5 million Gazans if they wish to leave. I mean, what does it mean exactly? So I think the idea here is to create the proper environment to displace them. And if that happens, Egypt is going to find itself in a position where they have to make one out of two choices. One, a direct military confrontation with Israel. Two, allow Israel to get away with this, but put Egypt in an extremely difficult position with the Egyptian people, with the Palestinians, and with the whole region.
You mentioned there the plan is quite clearly to make Gazans homeless, displace them. You've got more than 1 million in that situation currently. But this is taking it to another level. If the Israeli government takes control of the Rafah crossing, which is the only lifeline that the Gazans have to getting any kind of aid and supplies, is Israel willing to quite obviously begin starving the Gazan population? I mean, is it okay with that in terms of optics?
Unfortunately, that starvation has already begun. I mean, UNRWA, the UN agency responsible for the welfare of Palestinian refugees, already said that 40% of Palestinians in Gaza have begun the process of starvation. So we are already knocking at the door of famine in Gaza. And this is why Israel made it extremely complicated of allowing food stuff, basic supplies, medicine to enter Gaza because they feel that there is a breaking point and they want to get to that breaking point where the Palestinian resistance will have to respond to the existing need in Gaza. If the Palestinian resistance is pushed to the point where they would have to make political compromises because of the starvation of Gazans, then Israel would make sure that that environment is indeed created for that specific political end.
Really good to speak to you. Appreciate your analysis. My guest, Ramzy Baroud, who's a senior research fellow at Istanbul Zaim University. Thank you.